Bienvenidos una vez más a Puro Pinche Gol. This is the podcast where we discuss all things Liga MX y la selección mexicana. If this is your first time with us, I'm one of your favorite tocayos. My name is Adrian, and with me is your second favorite tocayo, Adrian. How's it going, man?
It's going, man. Glad to see you today at the game Mexico versus Paraguay. Glad to catch up with some of you guys there at the event. Got to interview a lot of you guys. Had some fun takes, some fun challenges. So be sure to stick it here, Puro Pinche Gol. Check out those reactions before the match when things were still happy around the stadium. But I'm doing good, man. Tuesday night. How are you?
I'm doing okay. I mean, all things considered, I think the best thing about going down to San Antonio was to hang out with you and the people outside of the stadium, not necessarily watching this boring ass game again. And This is the sixth match I guess, consecutively where Mexico has not won anything. Right? I mean, these matches don't really play for anything, but six matches in a row without a win. That's I'm not gonna say it's unexpected, but at the same time, I don't think anyone thought this could have been that long of a streak for Mexico and what's it called, El Vasco Aguirre on this next round with La Selección Mexicana. But I mean, listen, just like we're gonna dabble into the game, right? We're gonna look go over the some of the seven different changes that he did between Uruguay and Paraguay on the
Yep.
lineup. But I think for me, from my point of view, just to be brief here, is I don't think anything changed from the match on Saturday to today, and I don't think anything is different from the match against Uruguay from the previous month or month and a half. And you can go back all the way to freaking Jimmy Lozano. Everything is the same. It's the same thing, same BS that we continue to see with La Selección Mexicana. I think if this isn't a clear sign that us as Mexico fans should just let it go and be uh, and not realize, but just be aware that this generation of players is just trash. Um, I mean, there's nothing else that I honestly don't think there's anything else to hope for in here, man.
You said a lot. You said a lot of good things. A lot of things I echo with you, Adrian. I had to double check that stat of the last six matches unable to get a win, and that's insane to me. We know they tied with Japón back in September. They tied with Korea 2-2 back in September. They lost to Colombia 4-0 back in October. They tied 1-1 with Ecuador, tied 0-0 with Uruguay, and now to finish up the year 2025 in abysmal fashion, losing 2-1 to Paraguay. What a very bad cierre to the year for Mexico, close out to the year for Mexico, for Vasco Aguirre. Um, the thing that stood out to me, Adrian, was we talked about at the end of the Uruguay game in Torreon how El Tri got booed out of the stadium, rightfully so, after that 0-0 draw. That's one thing, Adrian, having it done in Mexico. When you lose the Mexican American crowd in the States, I think that's
Yeah.
really when you know you're in trouble, because we know that the Mexican American crowd here are a lot more lenient on La Selección than Mexican nationals in Mexico, right? So that's one thing that I noticed. If that doesn't wake up La Federación before the World Cup, I don't know what will. When they start losing their dollars, 28,000 people showed up to the Alamo Dome today. Not a lot. You mentioned it when we were there. This doesn't look like a lot of people. Um,
Mhm.
Maybe a lot of different reasons, right? It being a Tuesday, being a friendly, whatnot. It being the holidays, people are not going to spend right now. But for various reasons, people aren't showing up for La Selección as much as they have in the past. So maybe people are taking notice. People could be noticing that, hey, like you said, pan con lo mismo. It's the same thing as it was with Jimmy. It's the same thing as it was before that with Coca. It's the same thing now with Vasco Aguirre. No big changes. They are campeones de la Nations League and the Gold Cup, but when they go face people outside the region, everything just you know Six
specifically
months.
for South American sides, right? They just cannot, for the love of God, face a South American team because I don't know what happened to them, but they just crumble against South American opposition. And a team like Paraguay, who historically has been an easy win for Mexico, uh, today was Mexico was completely. I mean, I'm not gonna say they were completely destroyed and outclassed by Paraguay, but definitely Paraguay had the upper hand pretty much entire match. We'll go over the statistics in a minute, but uh, for the few minutes that I saw in the first half, because I was driving back, I saw nothing from Mexico, like no creativity whatsoever. This lack of having uh, a maverick in the team. And what I mean with this is Raúl Jiménez is definitely a maverick in Mexico, but you need maybe one or two more. He alone cannot carry this team. I think it's proven every time now and then, and even after the disastrous 2022 World Cup, he's just not the him by himself cannot do it on cannot do it all for Mexico, right? He cannot defend, he cannot create, he cannot score the goals for Mexico all by himself, and it shows, man. It shows. I mean, if we were praising El Vasco Aguirre maybe earlier this year for his improvements on the defense, right?
Yeah.
But over these last few six matches, that has shown to be another blatant, huge area of opportunity for Mexico, to say the least. And the biggest question to me, and the biggest maybe concern, if you want to call it one way, is Mexico has no attacking ability whatsoever. Like nothing, dude. They have once they start to lose control of the game and the defense crumbles, there's nothing that Mexico has under their belt or under belt that will turn things around. There's no depth on the bench. There's no
Yeah.
player that will shine and pick up the slack. There isn't any strategy or creative solution from El Vasco Aguirre and his staff. This is just the same old dirt that we've seen over the last 20 something years with Mexico. It's just it's
Yeah.
frustrating, I guess.
Man, the thing that got me, man, I was listening to the post game. First of all, yeah, I agree with you 100%. Mexico has no creativity going forward. They had no danger today, nothing on the flanks. Um, it just was a very abysmal. Yeah, they received two goals, but what stood out to me, like you're mentioning, is more the attacking third, really, than the defensive third. I think that this defensive third maybe had an off day. The defensive third, that can be fixed, that can be tweaked. But the forward, the front line is something that no matter who's coaching Mexico, no matter what year maybe for the last 20 years, Mexico cannot solve the freaking final third. And it's not consistent no matter who's up there as playing single striker or dual pivot, or who's playing behind the striker role. We saw Rubalcaba today playing up there with Raúl, right? I think it was trying different things to no avail. Yeah, people might say, we Mexico's missing critical forwards, critical strikers, but we have the best one out there right now. And I mean, if you can't do it with your best one, what are you against the Paraguayan side playing basically at home here? I don't know, man. I was listening to the post match director técnicos, right? And Gustavo, what's his name? The
Alfaro.
coach Alfaro, yeah, for Paraguay was saying that. And granted, you and I are not experts on Paraguay, but he was saying that this was a very reduced squad from their, they were missing four or five key strikers or starting players,
Yeah.
and they were playing the back line for the first time together. So if you're Mexico and you cannot create spaces and create opportunities against the back line that's playing together for the first time, I really don't know what you're going to do going forward
Yeah.
against bigger opposition in the World Cup.
Yeah. No, it's definitely a huge point of contention right now between the not between, but within the Mexican sphere of fans. And there's no solution inside, man. There's just no solution inside.
Yep.
Uh, there you don't have depth in the pool of players that you can call up. The ones that you can probably maybe depend on are all injured, right? We had four different players here that were not here because of injuries or other scenarios. Um, if I was El Vasco, I would try to fix my relationship with Julian Quiñones because at this point in time you cannot afford to not have him or to sideline him right from
Yep.
this squad. And I will pray to God and all the freaking Almighty, the powers that be, that Raúl Jiménez doesn't get injured,
Doesn't get injured. Yeah.
and that for whatever reason Santi Jiménez finds a some inspiration to have a second half of the season spell where he's just freaking scoring left and right. And even then, man, even then, uh, things would not be significantly different for Mexico. But at least you will have some a glimmer of hope, if anything, right? So I think we ought to go over the lineup here, some of the stats, and then just continue having a
I
post
mean, we'll go over the
conversation here.
lineup, Adrian, but
Yeah,
what good does it do after a performance like that?
yeah, complete
Put whoever
trash,
you
man.
want in there. Um, these are the 23 that are going to the World Cup, minus 4 or 5 who are probably injured. And I mean, you really are left with what can Mexico do in 6 months' time to not become
Yeah,
a statistic of one of those few that don't qualify to get out of their group. Or I guess here they'll probably qualify just because he's a bigger pool, but to do well, right? So I don't know. Too late for drastic changes. 6 months ahead,
yeah.
right? You can't really change
Nothing.
the coach
Yeah,
at
I
this
don't think
point.
anything's gonna happen. Yeah, they're not gonna change the coach. I mean, they're not gonna remove El Vasco Aguirre. They're just not gonna do it. It's not gonna
Yep.
happen. And also, there aren't. And even then, like even if El Vasco stays and he says like, all right, screw this, I'm gonna do a big change. You don't really have a lot of young players out there who can come in and do something different, right? I think what we have is what we have,
Yep.
and whatever 16 18 players that he already has on dog are going to be there on 2026, and maybe there's a handful of other ones who will find a way into the squad. Here with on this match we had Los Angeles Malagon as a goalkeeper. All right, I mean, quiet match for him.
Yeah.
Maybe there were two big saves that he made at the end. But other than that,
No one's blaming him.
yeah, exactly.
Undisputed starter for World Cup. Yeah, I mean, no problem
Yeah,
there.
the spot is his to lose, right? If
Yeah.
he continues to have a not a great form with America, I think El Tal Rangel, and Tal Rangel goes up with Chivas. I think there's definitely a case for Tal Rangel to start ahead of Luis Angel Malagon, but we'll see. We had Israel Reyes, Edson Alvarez, Chiquete Orozco, and Mateo Chavez, who had a very quiet match here. He's one of the guys that I'm the most excited next to Gilbertito Mora. But this time around, I have to be honest and open. It was a very quiet match from Mateo Chavez. We also have Marcel Ruiz. That Marcel Ruiz, we all keep on waiting for him to be the Marcel Ruiz from that
To
he's from with
arrive.
Toluca.
Hmm.
And I get it, playing with Toluca is perhaps maybe better than playing with La Selección Mexicana. But come on, man. I mean, everyone keeps hyping this guy up, and I don't wanna get into the side where I think people just hype him up because he's white or abuelito. No, I didn't mean to say white. I mean abuelito, right? Um, and that's it. Um, I'm not saying that he's a bad player. All I'm saying is he's not performing to the level that he needs to perform.
For La
Uh,
Selección.
for La Selección Mexicana, exactly. And maybe he should have gone to Ipswich Town instead of staying at Toluca. That's just my take. Or Palmeiras, if that was real. Then when
Hmm.
you have Eric Lira, yeah, quiet match. Gilbertito Mora, who continues to be like the X factor
The
for.
lone bright spot.
Yeah, exactly. He's perhaps the other Maverick that Mexico has, but he's only 18 years old, dude. We cannot put all the responsibility on his back. I don't think we should. Uh, and he needs to keep on. growing as a player, maturing as a player, right? So nice to see him, but unfortunately, this wasn't a good outing for him. Jorge Rubalcaba, who whatever, man. I mean, it's a fucking another Pumas player who will
Yeah.
go into abyss and no one's gonna remember him. Raúl Jiménez, we know Raúl Jiménez. He scored the penalty, but other than that,
No
again,
support.
no support. And then Orbelin Pineda, who I think had a good match, all things considered. He was the one that got the penalty. I think he came in hot. He looked decent out there. Perhaps maybe one of the standouts on this match for Mexico. But other than that, I mean, yes, there were a bunch of changes here, right? But I don't think even if Mexico had Cesar Montes, Jesus Gallardo, what's it called? Edson Alvarez playing on the midfield, Gilberto Mora, El Chiquito Sanchez, freaking Raul Jimenez, and the other two wingers. I don't think it would have made a
Alexis
difference,
Vega.
dude. Yeah, Alexis Vega and maybe El Piojo Alvarado or freaking Chino Huerta. I don't think it would have made a difference. Paraguay is definitely a very well organized team, very, very disciplined. I think you can see that all these players will fight tooth and nail for Alfaro, and that's something that Mexico doesn't have. Like if we can say whatever about El Vasco and how he has a good relationship with the players, you cannot see the same level of commitment that you saw with the Paraguayan team, even if even if it was their first time playing as the back line for the national team. You cannot see that level of commitment and I guess just I guess what's it called chemistry with the coach on the Mexican side. It's just not there. Yeah, they get along, and they both of them, I guess, they have a good relationship, but there's definitely a huge difference between sure we have a nice relationship versus I'll dice for this guy. I'll go out there and freaking give all that I have, no matter if we lose. We're not gonna let everyone just come in and freaking you know run us over or whatever. Which I think that's the case for Paraguay, and it has been throughout the entire, allegedly from what I read, because I'm not a Paraguayan expert, or throughout their entire World Cup qualifiers. But that's a lineup, dude. Statistics. I don't know if you want to go over them, um, but
You you could go over them if you want, dude. I don't think it means much right now after this
no.
loss, honestly.
Again, for those guys who say like, "Oh, Mexico has 72%," that doesn't mean jack s, dude. Doesn't mean jack caca for anyone. 72% for Mexico on possession, three big chances, four for Paraguay. Total shots nine. Out of those total shots for Mexico, five went on target. Paraguay had 14 shots, three on target. Three corner kicks for each one of them. Mexico had way more passes than Paraguay, almost double it or triple the passes of Paraguay. Um, yeah, I mean nothing. The stats don't mean anything, right? I mean, at this moment, as of right now, if it would have been a match where Mexico lost, and it was a very close match, Mexico was on the edge, on the fringe of tying, and there was definitely a back and forth, and you could see that Mexico was gelling. Sure,
Yeah.
we can go over the stats and say, okay, yeah, you have to look at the stats and build a case behind it. But in this specific moment, when you see that Mexico is completely dysfunctional and there's nothing working for them, and you have no options to turn things around, the stats just, if you read them correctly, just make the picture even worse. 72% means nothing. Whoever comes and tell you that Mexico it wasn't that bad of a game because Mexico had the better stats, bull crap. It's not. It's just a poor excuse. It's just I'm gonna say cope better, man. Cope better.
Go better. Yeah.
Mhm.
No, wake up call. I think Adrian. I think
Yeah.
we nailed it here. It's gonna be it's a bad way to lose the year, end the year, but
Mhm.
you sometimes need these breaks, these losses to turn it around, and I hope that's what Vasco and his
Let's
squad
see
do.
it.
Yeah, we'll see another good match in March against Portugal.
Hmm.
So let's see what happens there. I think they're
Yeah.
playing Mexico that one. So definitely a change from what we've seen in previous years for La Selección,
Hopefully.
actually playing good games against good opposition. Obviously, no qualifiers, so this is the best they can do. But yeah, I mean, disappointing way, man. Disappointing way to end the year.
What a shame. I just want to correct myself. I think I've been saying over the last couple of episodes that these were meant to be the last two matches of Mexico before the World Cup. There's actually the two last matches before before el sorteo
Gotcha.
for the World Cup, right? Which
Yeah.
happens, I think, in 20 days, if I'm not mistaken. But Mexico will have two last FIFA friendly window matches before the World Cup. One against Portugal, and the other one, I think, I want to say it's another
Captain
South
Seth.
American team or African team. I don't know, not sure. We'll get into it when it's time. But yeah, I think this is we yeah, you said it. We can just cut it here, and because there's really nothing else that we can really say. Um, Thank you so much for joining us today. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and turn on the notifications. You can also find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast on. Last but not least, we're also on Instagram and TikTok. We post memes, latest news, and shorts of our episodes. Um, Keep on showing up for us. We're making a few changes. On the next episode, we'll do a small announcement. But maybe you've already noticed that we changed our logo and a few other things on our branding. Uh, I think good things are going to come up after this, Adrian. And I hope to see
Yeah.
you in the next one, dude.
Yeah, excited for the future of this channel, Puro Pinche Gol. So keep it here with us as we continue cobertura of Liga MX and La Selección Mexicana. Adrian, always a pleasure, brother.
Take it easy, my friend.
See you, man.
Deuces.